How's it going, everyone? This is the weekly trading review for the week of June 9th. Recording this in the middle of the week because I am going to be out starting on Wednesday. So, figured I would do a quick video just recapping all the trades that I have taken this week and the usual stuff. So, after this video, no video until I come back, which will be until pretty much at the end of June is when I will make the next video. So let's start with the swing trades that I closed this week, which was Qubit. So I took Qubit long right over here, the $9 July 18th calls for $5.20. Stock pulled back, and then it shot up higher. And then as it was moving up here, I did have an order out to take gains kind of at this upward sloping trend line in case it sort of rejected off here, which was at $6.70. Actually poked up higher and all the way pretty much challenged this gap fill. You can see the close of this is 17.49. The high here is 17.59. So hit that gap fill and then kind of rejected off. So definitely had a chance to take more profits earlier in the day, but I didn't want to be in a scenario where I bid too high that I actually ended up rejecting off this trend line and then kind of collapsing and I don't take any money. So took a nice win on Qubit and I closed that position out for about a 30% gain. Now, if we look at what the market has done in those past couple of days, market has been sort of, relatively just kind of grinding up higher. So I took it on the 23rd. Here is SPY on the 23rd. So right here. So I got the market right. This stock is a little choppy, so I had to dip, test the bid, and then slowly rally up. So as long as the market didn't go against it, I knew I had a chance to kind of stick with it. And I gave it a lot of time deep in the money calls. So And I sold some diagonals against it, so that got me a little bit of extra return on the position. So that was Qubit long. I'm closed out of that, so it means I have no more open swings, and I am in all cash going into the vacation, which is pretty nice because I was ready to hold it over vacation, but I was really hoping that it would pop up and I could take gains before that. And that's pretty much what happened. So let's get into the day trades this week. I took 3 day trades, 1 win, 1 scratch, and 1 loss. We'll start with the market on Monday. Long-term basis, nothing has really changed from last week. SPY is mildly bullish on a shorter-term basis, a more neutral on a longer-term basis. This is a type of price action that's kind of slow, choppy, grindy. It dips, and when there's dips, you want to get in, buy support, and then ride it up and take some gains. Hard to really stick with trades, and you want to take gains into some of these long candles here because they have a tendency to eventually get retraced. So yesterday, SPY opened inside day here. Right here's a prior day's high, and yeah, just kind of slowly grinding up higher. So you can see kind of these higher lows coming in, and then pushes up, pauses, comes back in, and tests the bid. So I took 2 trades yesterday. The first one was Lulu. And I took Lulu short. Yeah, still looks decent today. So I took Lulu short right here at 11.50. So it broke through over here. So there was a nice entry point right at 262. Broke through here, pushed down, and then it pulled back. So I had a bid kind of around the 8 EMA at 261.50, and that's when I got my fill right over here at 261.50. So it poked it, got the fill, and then it popped down here, pushing through the low of the day on this 11.55 candle, which was it this candle or something? So it was looking pretty good here. Stalled while the market was pushing a little bit higher, and then it eventually actually found some support around 12.30 and started to rally a little bit higher with the market here. So pretty weak daily chart, kind of choppy, which is why I bid here. So I got a really nice entry, but I had, once it pushed through here, I had my stop at my entry. So when Lulu hit that stop, I ended up scratching out of the trade over here at 261.54. So it took like a very tiny loss on that position. But yeah, I mean, it is, looked pretty good. I had a chance to take some gains here, but I figured had a chance for another leg higher. And then when I didn't quite get that, and it pushed back up, I got out of the trade and had a chance to re-enter. I called it out again in the one option chat somewhere around here, but I was at my 2-day trade limit at the time, so I didn't end up taking the short that had a nice little sell-off. So that was Lulu. Took a scratch on that. The other trade I took was Rocket Lab. Let's just get up this D1 chart here. So had a big pop up, tested this high over here, so a little big major D1 support, pretty big rejection from that. So here's a setup for Rocket Lab. Had a really nice setup, but we had to be careful because there was some D1 resistance and some pretty heavy selling pressure. So we got this big leg up in the first 30-ish minutes. Stock pulled back to VWAP and started to find some support. So over here is when I got my alert for Rocket Lab. Beautiful setup. Like I would take this, 10 out of 10 times. But I didn't bid at the high of this candle. I bid at around 31.40, which is about the halfway point of this candle. I figured it would retrace to the 8 EMA, bid lower. And that's something I've been working on this week, just bidding a little bit lower. So it was moving up a little bit higher here, and then we kind of got smacked down. Now I didn't have an order working, an OCO order working, so I didn't end up scratching out. And I had a chance to scratch out here. I didn't quite get the fill because I was at 31.40. I wanted to get exactly out at 31.40, but instead I was waiting a little bit too long and ended up testing through this level here. And I was waiting to see it kind of come back. And then when it started to dip, it tested VWAP and dipped through this level right here. I got out at 30.85, I believe. I'm checking. 30.86. So it took about a 60-cent loss per share on this guy. I mean, good trade. I kind of wish I'd scratched it out earlier, just not letting this kind of stock go against me when I'm not super sure. Again, did have a chance to take some gains in here, but considering on how well it was churning up, there was really no reason to exit the stock here. It would have been too technically early. Even here, this is fine. This is sort of the warning candle, and when it's not gobbled up, you're still good, but you're also holding this VWAP over here. So, you're like, okay, well, it could test here, and we could bounce up again, right? That's another scenario. We're testing this level, which is fine, but we need to pop off it. And when we didn't pop off it, I had to exit. So I think technically I made a pretty good exit point here. I did have one more push up to VWAP on this low, so that was another exit point right here. You can see it push through, it's trying to get up higher, and then a massive rejection. So you'd also have to get out here, and then ended up selling off for most of the day. So I'm pretty happy with my entry because even though I wanted to scratch it out here, I avoided a lot of this pain lower. So started the week off red, which was obviously not ideal, but I was saying, all right, well, let me just see if I can make something happen on Tuesday, see if I can finish the week in the green. So let's go to Tuesday. Market today started up as an inside day, kind of flat. We get this big news candle, rally up over here, another news candle rallying up over here. So you can see after these news dips that get bought, we get a really big push. That was sort of the theme of today. So I mentioned I took gains on Qubit, so that pretty much put me back break even for the week. And then I knew that, all right, I just need one sort of decent trade today to make it work. So I was looking at both longs and shorts. There were some nice picks on both sides. A lot of shorts I saw today were very strong D1 charts that were selling off. So that was sort of the weakness that I saw intraday. I looked at Netflix, and I kind of called this out in the chat. Netflix is like, it's a chart you could trade, but you got to be like super careful because this is, as you're seeing today, right? It looks fine, but it's a very strong chart. Buyers can step in at any moment and pop this guy up. So you got to be extremely careful when trading this kind of stock. And I think I didn't really see any really good shorts today that I really liked. So I took a bit of a more advanced trade on Netflix, and I'll kind of walk through some of the process. So we get this big sell-off over here on heavy volume. We pop up, and then we start to stall out over here, right, from about 12 to 1. And we get this pop-up over here. Here's a market popping up, and then from 12 to 1, market is moving up higher. Netflix is compressing, and it's also getting some lower highs. So the way I play this is, first off, I want to see this low preserved. I need to be really careful because, again, it's a strong D1 chart, so maybe it'll test the low of the day. Maybe it'll make a higher low. It's way more likely it'll make a higher low than to actually make a new low here, given that the market is bullish and the stock is bullish. So pretty dangerous. So I take a small size here at 1190. I bid a little bit higher because you can see there's some chopping around here. So I don't need to bid 1188. I can bid 1190, get a little bit better entry. And I sized it to take like a $20 loss in the stock, like a huge loss. So I take 15 shares short, and I'm just looking for some move to low of the day. If I can get a couple bucks on here, if I get a really good move, then I can get like $10, but not exactly counting on that. So the stock is looking good, and you see it starts to break down here, and then we get the super heavy volume candle. It starts low, and then it finishes in this hammer. Now, it's not a long tail, but look at the volume coming in on this bar over here. Now, it could get erased, but given all of the context, given that the market is up, given that the stock has a strong D1, I decide to exit here at 111.8604. So roughly $4 per share here. Chops around a little bit more. You can see unable to really get through that low. You have another exit point over here. And then stock, massive surge up. So this is the risk, right? Where on the strong move, I know that at least I'm going to get some sort of double bottom, but you have to get a great entry. And as soon as this was moving in my favor at 1186, I set an OCO where I would stop out for like a 1 cent gain, and I would take profits if it hit the low of the day. So you got to manage it really carefully. So took some gains here. That was about $60, and that trade put me in the green for the week. So finishing the week up $43, partial week. So not putting a ton of stock into that. If I was trading a little bit longer, maybe I could get a couple of more gains. But overall, pretty nice. Just happy to finish this short little week green, and come back and reset after the trip next week. And as you can see, Netflix is rallying very strongly. You could probably even, if you're really crazy, you could take a long in here at VWAP and take a couple of bucks off there. So yeah, those were all the trades I took this week. So only 4 trades total. In terms of the performance, I think this is week number 11. I have it actually up over here. So out of the 11 weeks, I have 1 red week and 10 green weeks. So looking pretty good. We'll talk more about that in the Q2 weekly performance, but I'm just trying to finish every week green for this quarter and, kind of build it from there. All right. So thanks for watching, everyone, and trade well in these market conditions. There's a lot of news coming next week. Pretty light volume week this week. I'll just give a little market synopsis of what I'm expecting to happen, but some light volume stuff here. Next week we have FOMC. Next week we have the triple witching, and we also have Juneteenth. So kind of a weird week in terms of holiday, low trading activity, and also news events, and triple witching usually causes a trend day. So pretty sure next week there'll be probably mostly dead days, and then we'll have one really, really good day. So your goal is just to be present and then really watch for that good day and what could happen, because that could push us to the all-time high, or we could get to the all-time high before that, and we can get a big rejection, triple witching-wise, from that all-time high. I don't really know what's going to happen. I guess I'm going to see after Friday. But for me, if I'm recommending stuff on your swing trades, I'm playing it pretty light. You want to get in on your swings when the market dips and take profits, overnight or the next day when the market kind of rips up. On day trades, you also want to be nimble. Again, wait for the dips and then take profits when the market rips up. So it's a lot of timing stuff with the market, waiting for your time to strike. I think there's a lot of actually pretty nice D1 charts, strong stocks, good picks every single day, even though the market isn't really doing much. So there are opportunities in there. There are stocks that are moving. You just have to pick your spots and really, really wait for those dips, because if you overload on longs, right, and you get in a peak and the market puts in a gap up, massive red engulfing candle, that is the biggest risk we have as traders right now. Big gap up, red engulfing candle near the all-time high that will have you puking out of your positions. So just wait for the reaction here. If the move down is very strong, then okay, you avoided some danger. If the move down is weak, you get a much better entry point on some of these swings, and they'll perform much, much quicker. You don't have to take a lot of heat on them. So, just stay pretty light here, pretty cautious. And again, my bias is that I think July, mid to late July, early August, when we have some of those trade deals trickling in, we have those earnings, we have some more economic data points. We'll have the Fed. Well, the Fed will have some more information. We'll get into the Fed recess, the summer recess, the summer doldrums, the holiday weakness. All that stuff kind of coalesces at that time. And to me, that seems the most likely time that we see some sort of move in either direction. So right now, I think the market's going to continue what it's going to do. Low float up here on light volume. And this next week will be a decent juncture. And then in about another month or so, we'll be at another pretty major juncture, in my opinion. All right. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all later. Trade well.